On the night our Lord Jesus entered into his agony in the Garden of Gethsemane, he asked his friends for one thing only: companionship. One of the prayers recited at Catholic Mass, whenever the third Eucharistic prayer is used, is a prophecy from the Old Testament book of Malachi, written 500 years before the birth of Christ.
And you never cease to gather a people to yourself, so that from the rising of the sun to its setting, a pure sacrifice may be offered to your name.
This 2,500-year-old prophecy and promise that a pure sacrifice would be offered from the rising to the setting of the sun is now fulfilled in our time. With a vast number of Catholic churches spread throughout the world today, in numerous different countries and many various time zones, it is estimated that the Blessed Sacrament is being elevated at some point during every single hour of each day and night from the rising to the setting of the sun. At his ascension almost 2,000 years ago, Jesus made a similar promise to his disciples. Remember, I am with you always to the end of the age. The miraculous gift of his very real presence in the Holy Eucharist fulfills that promise. St. Maximilian Kolbe once wrote, "If angels could be jealous of men, they would be so for one reason: Holy Communion." The divine Word, our Lord Jesus himself, who became flesh 2,000 years ago, is truly present and alive today in the Eucharist, which is the very heart of the Catholic Church. From the first days of the early Christians to our present age, Christ followers have experienced the divine joy of receiving his actual body, blood, soul, and divinity during the celebration of the sacred liturgy of the Mass. The devotion to the real presence in the Blessed Sacrament is widespread throughout the world, and in some cases it is quite notable. For example, if you would go to the city of Columbus, Nebraska, located in almost the very middle of the United States, and pay a visit to the parish of St. Bonaventure Catholic Church, you would find an extraordinary example of love and devotion to our Lord Jesus Christ. On the parish website, there is a unique time clock that records the amount of time elapsed since Valentine's Day, February 14th, 1961, the date when 24-hour adoration began in the parish.
When I came to St. Bonaventure in 2015, I learned that Eucharistic adoration had been going on since 1961, and that's really remarkable. The Eucharist is the source and summit of our faith, and therefore to have that gift before people is just a blessing for the parish.
Longtime parishioner Deacon Art Spenner, now retired, was one of the original people involved when 24-hour adoration was established at St. Bonaventure's. Actually, he began taking his hours several years before it expanded into a 24-hour devotional in 1961.
Well, when we started with the Perpetual Adoration, which would be in 61, we had a little bit of a feeling how it would work with Nocturnal, because we had that core group of people who had done that, and they kind of knew what to expect and how it would run. Just spending an hour with God was what we would call it in those times.
A lot of folks are curious what Eucharistic adoration is, and they may be afraid of going because what do you do? What do you do? It's just like talking to Jesus, talking to your best friend. That's all it is.
How you spend your time with our Lord in adoration is a personal choice, and it doesn't always have to be the same with every visit. Some people like to read inspirational books about the saints, or they may choose to meditate on the life of Jesus while praying the rosary.
Amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Others recite prayers created specifically for use in adoration. Many long-term adorers are just comfortable being in His presence, listening and reflecting on whatever He chooses to tell them. In the small chapel at Scotus Central Catholic High School, right across the street from the St. Bonaventure Church, two seniors have their own special way of giving adoration to our Lord. One of the major joys in Father Mike's ministry is introducing the real presence of our Lord to the children of the parish at their first Holy Communion. Private adoration in the chapel rectory is another great blessing.
Having the chapel in the rectory is an incredible blessing. It's just steps from my office. I'll tell you, that is just such a gift. I love celebrating Mass in the morning, and then I immediately make a cup of coffee and I go in and pray for an hour in front of the Blessed Sacrament. And I can go there at any time during the day. It's like going to the refrigerator for food. I can go there and have a snack of Jesus, so to speak.
One of the best ways to end my day is stopping in at the chapel after a long, stressful day at school, and just extra time with Jesus right at the end of my day. Having Eucharistic adoration in the chapel this year has been one of the greatest gifts that I could have possibly had my senior year of high school. Being able to stop in there, even if it's only for 5 minutes in a day, brings such peace and joy to my day.
I lost my mom when I was in the 7th grade, I think, and my dad when I was in high school. Then I lost my wife 29 years ago. I lost a son about 10 years ago. Lost a daughter about 3 years ago. So not to say that death is just a thing that happens and you just put it off. No. Death, you lose someone that you really, really miss. But I think when you're in front of the tabernacle in church, not necessarily by yourself, but by yourself most of the time, God presents Himself to us in whatever way He wants. And sometimes He'll bring our family with Him to show us where they are, how they're doing, and give us a feeling that, life is not the end, it's the beginning.
We've heard of so many Eucharistic miracles, but really the greatest miracle is that radical conversion of heart. John the Baptist, when he was in the womb, leapt for joy in the presence of the Lord. And then we have Zacchaeus, who was a tax collector, a wealthy tax collector, climbed the tree to see Jesus, and his heart was wide open and converted. Maybe the most radical demonstration would be the good thief on the cross with Jesus. Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom. And Jesus said, you'll be there in paradise with me today. That is awesome. So it doesn't matter what you've done, how unworthy you are, how inadequate you feel, the Eucharist is for you, and it can transform your life.
I would just like to invite anyone, even if you don't know anything about coming and adoring our Lord, just come. He'll do it. He'll let you know He's there. He'll touch your heart, and you will be blessed beyond your imagining.